Thanks for sticking here with us on Team Fortress TV. That was a long intermission. We're still here for the Dreamhack Summer 2016 TF2 Invitational, sponsored by sweepstakes.tf and Plantronics. Shout out to our sponsors, much love. CommanderX, do you want to tell these people what's been going on for the last, has it been an hour? Longer?
I don't know, time's become a blur about now, Admirable. So, where to start? So, the long and short of it is, before LAN, Crowns were using a coach because it was recommended to them by their org. Be happy to ship said coach to this LAN right here. Samsy.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, you know that guy?
Samsy Derulo, yeah.
At which point they were told no, I believe mainly because of the logistical idea of what if the coach didn't have a soundproof headset, would he hear the casters and so on, so it was just said no. So obviously they didn't bother to fly out a coach, he wouldn't be able to be a coach in-game with them. At which point, while we were here, nameLess have struggled significantly, so Cadus wanted to be more involved. At which point, the theory crafted the idea of he could have Mumble on his phone, the soundproof headphone, if he could get more soundproof headphones, which we were able to source from the generous Esports United. At which point, it was like, okay, that's fine then. But obviously, once Crowns progressed from that game we watched earlier, what a game, by the way, we'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, so obviously Crowns are upset that they were denied a coach, said it wouldn't be a possibility, but suddenly they're playing against a team with a coach.
Sideshow is shaking his head here.
And just to keep note, this isn't just any old playing coach. It's not just one just watching them behind and just like, you know, showing concerned looks about stuff and me telling them everything there. I mean, in theory, if he's going to be in the Mumble with them, he could be like just the caller for the team. He could micromanage. He can do pretty much as like a player in there just coming, but is relieved of the effort of actually playing the game. So he could probably make even more decisive calls or even better calls in that. So it basically it's like a 7th person on the 10th class.
Oh wow!
The caller.
We're jumping straight into the map bans already.
But that's been denied anyway, so
These
no
teams
coach.
Want to get underway. We've got nameLess banning out Reckoner, Crowns banning out Badlands, and nameLess are going to pick Process straight off the bat there.
Yeah, Process, a pretty strong map for nameLess. I'd say they're quite comfortable on it, whilst I think it's also a weak map for Crowns Esports as well, so not too surprising to see that pick coming out. I'm a bit surprised that they picked up Gullywash, because I think nameLess, I think they might have struggled on Gullywash, but it's still like a good map for them. But, you know, again, they're just using that might of AMS, Tiger, Land Soldier superpowers, and just, hey, if we slap him on Gullywash, maybe we'll walk away with that.
Onkai appears to be deep in thought right now. nameLess banning out Snakewater.
No Viaduct ban.
That's
interesting.
He's going to consult his team here. Definitely a team effort right now from Crowns.
But no coach for nameLess, so they're going to have to make this decision all by themselves, big boys.
They only have 6 players to help them decide, not 7.
Controversial.
Onkai banning out Granary here, and that leaves the remaining map.
nameLess decide to play Viaduct.
Ah.
Brave. Bold.
Beautiful.
What would Cadus have done?
A map that they had a lot of struggles with. Maybe they just don't think it's going to go to 3 maps here, guys.
I think on the bright side here, on the product map, nameLess don't really have to deal with much in the shape of a sniper, because I don't think Atomic or Beeben really favoured the sniper as much as, say, Falash or Denia have been. So that's just like one less aspect to worry about on the map. So probably a good reason why they let the map through.
Just to touch briefly for sort of final conclusions of this drama. Everyone loves some drama. So the long and short of it is the original decision of no coaches is being upheld. Cadus is not allowed to coach with a tournament. nameLess asked for more time to make up for that because their original plan, because their plans have changed. But so they were denied that just because of their scheduling. It's just not possible. So no Cadus. We've got our maps. nameLess are on their own in between maps.
Does that mean no Cadus, no hope?
It's going to be tougher.
You can't understand like why they were upset, because obviously they had made their plans. Like talking to Permzilla, like even before all this drama came out, he says like we haven't really done much preparation last night. They didn't do any demo reviews, whatever, because they knew Cadis had been allowed as their coach. So
I think, as far as they know, they made the decision like, well, if Cadis is back, we might as well have Captain on Pocket and Stark on Scout. So they probably had it wrapped around in their head like, oh, I'm going to play Scout, I'm going to play Soldier. But now that's been, probably quickly changed back without Cadis.
Yeah, they were already talking about that last night, actually, at the apartment. The players were there in the after hours, and Captain and Stark actually did exchange that thought that they could be switching back to their original roles. It remains to be seen what they're actually going to be playing here in this best of 3 series, but
I think
they have to stick with Stark. They need somebody that's going to be main calling on the team. It's just, especially right now.
It seems like it's been a struggle for Stark, and like we've mentioned it a couple of times throughout yesterday, that he's trying to do everything for his team because he kind of has to. Like, he is the man with the plan. He's trying to micromanage everyone a little bit and create the plays, but also be involved in the plays and commit himself for the plays. It's like a real Herculean task. He is like probably the best player in Europe right now, the best multi-classer. He's capable of doing all these things, and he sees all these angles.
I mean,
but is he able to play at his own peak right now?
To be fair to nameLess, they did try to outsource all the responsibilities. But I guess it's just really strange. Like, it would have been really interesting to see. Maybe if it was just the only issue we didn't allow it in the end was it was just halfway through the tournament, and people just did not know about it.
I think the problem is Crowns were given, both teams were given information that kind of messed up their plans.
Just on the face of it, like when I first heard about it, I thought it sounded totally unfair. But then hearing about all the background, about the different things that had gone on previously, what was promised and what had been discussed, I think they've made the only decision they could make. But it's nameLess who've ended up shortchanged here with like less time to prepare. You could argue, but at the end of the day, it's going to be 6 players playing against 6 players. That's fair.
Good old-fashioned TF2.
Yeah, like I'm all for the coach system. It's great, but like don't try and shoehorn it in the middle of the tournament just because one team is underperforming.
Well, he just simply asked, and Sideshow just trying to be as accommodating as he wants to be with the players.
Nice guy, Sideshow. But obviously, nameLess are still big favourites to take this game. So
I mean,
will it even have an impact?
They don't need this at all. It was just it was like one of the easier fixes they could do. It's just like, well, if we bring Cadis in, that just makes the fixing so much easier.
I don't think that the plan. I think they're confident they can beat Crowns regardless of Cadis. The idea was to give Cadis a chance to get used to this coaching system before Perilous. But saying all of that, it's over right now. That's a dead dream. The dream we have right now is Crowns' dream.
Look at them, the 2 corporates there, still talking over how unfair it is.
Nigel and Cadis on cam. Their plans dashed by the public outcry, championed by CommanderX on Twitter. I saw you stirring up a media frenzy there, buddy.
Well, no shout out for your Twitch chat reporter. Wow.
I didn't have Twitch chat open, but luckily all this drama's behind us right now.
Yeah, I want to talk about that last game. I mean, we were in the crowd, being very loud.
Yeah, I had to hoot and holler for Skeege. I wanted comfortably spanked to win, I'm not going to lie, guys, but it was Crowns who came out on top.
Yeah, and what a game. What a great momentum boost to come off the back of this. Yeah. And ultimately, Crowns got the decision they wanted in terms of the coach deny. Everything's kind of looking at Crowns right now. As you said, they were pretty unprepared. Well, their preparation was severely hindered by their sort of change of plans. So instead, we're going into process, a map I don't think we've seen this tournament so far.
No, I don't think so.
That's a very good point. I guess it's just a map that everyone's just been okay with. It's neither a bad map nor a good map, but so they haven't been too striving towards it. Maybe they just might just been in favour of all of these other maps. I know, like I think Comfortably Spanked didn't really prepare many mids or any other like set pocket strats for that map. Same with Crowns. I don't think Crowns, like I said a bit before, I don't think it's a particularly strong map of theirs. And the people that picked it, nameLess, they're pretty good at all the maps, except maybe like Pro-Dog.
Reckoner.
Oh yeah, well actually they've been practicing Reckoner like quite frequently. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled out a Reckoner pick, but that's neither here nor there. So But yeah, the process map, it's just another tool on the nameless tool belt that they just popped out, and it's going to be good as well because nobody's played on it all LAN. It's going to be they're going to be quite unpracticed on it. They may even like be completely forgetful of like what the team actually agreed on to do on that map.
I think it's a bit of a risk. If you cast your mind back all the way back to Dreamhack Winter, and this is a map Crowns, then Public Lear actually did pretty decently on.
Yeah, but they also had different players on that roster.
They had different players, but the difference between Crowns Now and Crowns Online is Onkai's at LAN and Onkai's more involved in Onkai's calling, who was doing the same.
Yeah, but you also had the Denia sniper. You had, I'm sure Nation was doing something, but and
that's not correct.
who was the other scout that was on that?
It's not important. All the other players are irrelevant. It's all about Onkai and Onkai's calling, and he's making the difference at this LAN right now for them, and he will make the difference for them on this map, I feel. And I think it's a risky pick.
Well, either way, we are.
Just making a duck face at me here, but the process is getting underway, guys. I want to flip it back to you and ask: are Crowns just going to be tired right now? They had a really grueling series as they get on to middle #1 here. Is that going to factor into it?
I think this is going to be just wind under their sails. They're a very emotional team, and they're going to be feeling a lot of hype from that previous game. They're going to feel like they can do anything right now. So I think, if anything, I would be a bit scared of what Crowns can perform here. As Beaven does get the first frag on the main caller, Starkey. He's been taken out, and that's led the decision for nameLess to just back out all their players and just set up a defense on second instead, just give up the mid.
I could be almost certain that nameLess were not expecting a sniper to mid there on Kaya, coming up with the call, the gimmick strat there on middle to win that initial engagement. Ams has gone down there, he will be back on the field, and they'll have 6 on middle momentarily, but I guess we have to take a look at where exactly Beaver is going to try and look for another pick on the scope, and he is just looking towards Shook. Nobody from nameLess is going to peek here. They're just going to wait till he gets closer, and then try and punish him, but right now he is inching his way forward, trying to be the Denia of this current version of Public Lear / Crowns.
Yeah, maybe Onkaya has a bit of nostalgia for the old process where he's like, oh man, Denia played such a sick sniper in that last Dreamhack Winter. Maybe we can have our own sick sniper on this map. So, and Beaven is no stranger to the sniper class, but it's just when you're usually rusty, you want to focus one class at a time, but it seems maybe he's hit his stride back on Scout. It's time to start shaking the rust off on sniper.
I think it's a bit of a weird one. I believe they've gone, they put Beaven on sniper, even though he's not been particularly prolific so far in this tournament, but on the basis that Stark can no longer snipe from a pocket position, so it's now Happy-Cool. So it's a much more even fight between Happy-Cool and Beaven, but neither of them being on particularly good form, so we could be on for a very, very long sniper 1v1.
Wow, they're both missing a lot of shots there. It looked like a laser battle with all those tracers over the screen, and it's actually Stark who's going to take one for Happy-Cool, the presidential save.
Yeah, whereas they do dedicate, actually an Uber's been thrown into the mix. Permzilla's popped off his Uber. I think Onkai is still holding on to his. He's got no real reason to use it. He's actually going to still hold on to it despite taking a significant amount of damage, and his team are just slowly trying to inch their way in and to see if they can get this second point 4-3 and use this Uber to push them to last.
Our control point is being captured.
Yeah, rolled a move away back there, and they still have this big old advantage to work with. They will get the spawns in time, but they're going to be taking this straight in right now. We're going to see Soldier leading the charge. Here comes AMS. He's awfully far, though. Kaya will catch him on the heavy right now. Everyone's in. Dance around 2 frags already. Just 4 players left. Stark's trying to battle it. The point's being baited. They get on the point. So much damage. And Crowns take the first round. Can you believe it, Admirable?
I can't believe it. I just killed TF2.
Well, in the meantime, it's the fact that they won that first round, but this might just, again, add more momentum to their emotional, and you can already probably hear them in the background screaming every time something goes their way. So you probably have the adrenaline pumping, and you just have that slightly better aim and that slightly better decision making coming out from Crowns. Maybe they can snowball this 1CX.
Yeah, we see him taking on mid, but nameLess are much more aggressive now, expecting the sniper. Drak is super deep, takes down the Doman straight away. They force Beaven out, they've not given him a chance to even really take a shot. They responded to that sniper strategy exactly as they should. 4 people alive, 2 spam classes down. If Beaven doesn't hit something in this push from nameLess, it's going to be really comfortable for them.
Yeah, you do see the disadvantage of sniper. During all, it's very messy and chaotic, and it's pretty difficult to just line up that controlled controlled shots, as you just have to kind of just go into the thick of it. Usually only the very talented snipers do this, while Ankaya has been forced off to use his Uber, and Permzilla has backed out completely, like without a scratch almost, and he's going to hold on to his Uber, and this is going to be a potential, the ball is in the court for nameLess.
Yeah, we see nameLess taking their time with this. They maybe have a significant Uber advantage from that exploitation of numbers to set it up. We see Atomic on Engineer, the Heavy coming out from Beam. They are set up for this as the Uber comes in. Beaver's focusing down the demo. The Flash will come in though. They've not taken a lot down right now though. And they're going to try and take on this Heavy, but Stark will eventually get the frag, but there's not too great health on them. And they've not done a lot with this Uber so far. They're still trying to focus these players on left, but they've got back into spawn. Really even fight still. And now Tiger comes in. Tiger's going to not get the pick. Perm survives. And it's starting to fall apart for Crowns now. Permzilla's got the arrows out. Can't find anyone. Heal your players, Perm. They need help. It's now Drak versus the world, but all the players are solo. Drak can do this. He's on the Engineer now. He's taking the Engineer down, but he's focused down. Perm needs to go for something. He's going for Swords. He's on the Medic. One slice.
Oh, that was way too close for comfort. He potentially took out Onkaya there. And they will see if they can make this push out, this transition. They have got the heal advantage, and there's no heals over on the side of nameLess, so they're probably going to have to back up and just give this up to Crowns on the second point.
Yeah, they're going to recap it straight away. They have a bit of an Uber advantage to work with, but nothing too significant. They're going to have to wait for the Uber to get into this difficult middle point. And you see nameLess taking the high ground, setting up stickies. They're completely prepared for this. Difficult one for Crowns, because they've got 50% advantage, so they should go on it, but it's a difficult push to make. nameLess enjoy being in this position. They're really well rehearsed, very good at it. It'll be interesting to see if Crowns are willing to take the game to them, or play a more similar style to nameLess and let them wait it out as well and just let them get the equal Ubers.
Yeah, it's just playing the waiting game now. They are actually deciding to push in, and they're rotating around, avoiding the brunt of that Uber, and they're desperately trying to just hunt them down, but they can't quite latch onto them. So it's fine though. They do push him out, and they will get middle, but this does kind of create a seesaw effect. So let's see if they can claim it back with their own sort of Uber. But Permzilla hasn't quite got it yet. They do dispatch the jumper that was sent in there to force him out, but he still doesn't have a reason to use the Uber, so he's probably going to hold on to it and maybe even push this advantage onto the second point, CX.
Yeah, Tiger went way too early there, and then Atomic lingered in as well, just missed timing from the flank. As we see another big bomb going in from AMS, and these solo attempts are not getting anywhere near Permzilla, making this easy for nameLess right now. Crowns find themselves back on last. They held it before, can they hold it again? Kaya will have Uber by the time this push comes in. And once again, we see Atomic on his favoured Engineer class.
Well, it is processed, like, it is a given. This Engineer does so much work when it comes to this map. It just covers the point presence so well, and it's because it's such a wide open area, there's so many positions for the Central Gun to actually help out the team. It might as well be like a 7th person on the team.
Start going in for the suicide there, I presume just because he was in a position quicker. As we see the counter-attack coming out, air shots on, Tiger's destroyed. Easy play for Tiger there, no real risks, and Stark went down. Stark coming back on Soldier still, maintaining that Soldier, and he's actually opened the door for the Happy Cool Spy.
Nobody expects the Happy Cool Spy. Well, maybe so. Actually, he's been using the Spy somewhat here and there throughout the tournament, and he's actually got the ambassador as well. We saw Hank showing good success with the Ambassador. Maybe he'll pull out the same shenanigans on his Spy play. Oh, that was a close call there, as he's trying to inch his way in.
Yeah, we've seen Kaya be very susceptible to Spy plays so far in this tournament. We see him here now. He's not really checking, but Happy Cool's need to wait for this cloak to recharge to get in a better position. He's in there now, but Happy Cool's main problem is how close everyone is, as I believe we're going to a pause.
All right, so well, we can still keep talking. We don't have to just completely mute out for the entire game.
Absolutely. The state of the game right now is...
we probably may want to keep it quiet because the players might have removed their headsets in case there is like a technical issue. So we won't talk about the game just now, but do you think this game would be different with the coach system? I know I'm going to harp on the coach system, but it is a really interesting issue to get your teeth into.
Yeah, I mean, if TF2 were a big money esport, I would love to see the impact that coaches could have, those extra man hours, towards helping develop a team. But even here in this LAN situation would be a good petri dish to see how effective it could be. But just the situation of the tournament today and it kind of being sprung upon teams, like they didn't know that Cadis was going to be coach. Equally the way nameLess assumed that they would have him, so like definitely not for this tournament, but for future tournaments, absolutely TurboTabs.
Yeah, what do you think about that, CX? Do you think they should change up the formula? Oh, we're actually going back to the game, but we'll touch about it later. Maybe there'll be future pauses to carry on the conversation. As right now, I still see Happy-Cool. He has actually decided to go with the spy and just settle with Smear because Onkai did recess himself back to the resupply, so he was literally untouchable for the spy play. Starkey does again. He's been receiving a lot of hate on this map so far, guys.
I think it's because he's sort of always the first person to check, get eyes on the enemy, and Beevan's just taken his head a couple of times already. So it's back to the drawing board for nameLess here. Nothing they can do with that pick, and it looks like it's going to be a repeat of the play right now.
Healthy paranoia here from Amps, just spamming the sentry gun there, spamming his own gun because he's very much aware that Happy-Cool is still playing spy here. Where is Happy-Cool right now, guys? He's just ghosting his way into rollout, starting to edge forward here, Turbo. That's
a very dangerous place to like try and enter the fight with. Oh, it seems like nobody's really holding close there, so he's playing a dangerous game, but I think they're going to be very conscious that the spy play can happen. I worried about Happy-Cool. Like, where can he uncloak really without? They haven't heard it and he's going to get stabbed. But it's a good thing that Tiger noticed him. He did try to go for the face stab, but it just didn't work out. And they actually got the force instead. So good job on Starkey for like picking up the pieces there.
Yeah, he was Happy-Cool was really drawn the mental energies there of Crowns. They were all focused looking for that spy. They dealt with him and they breathed a sigh of relief, but it was Stark coming in, he was the threat. They got that force onto Onkaya, so huge uber advantage here for Perm. Stark does just respawn, but Drak's gone down, so that might slow down their aggression here. They have a huge window of time to work with. It's going to be 25 seconds or more before we see an uber available to Onkaya here. So looks like it's going to be a lobby push. Spud and Stark getting flashed through here. Early pop from Permzilla. They want to make sure they can close the distance down.
Well, that's the push fail. Spud just got instantly deleted. He jumped up way too far ahead, and there's no time for Permzilla to catch up to him and lay that invincibility charge on him. So just a little tiny misplay, but there's not too much to punish about it. I mean, we did lose Demoman though. We'll make gaining entry into second very easy for the players, but hopefully they've set up some somewhat decent defensive positions so they can try and fight it off against them. And they haven't quite got that overcharge yet, so they just went in there dry. I was a bit surprised coming out from Crowns. I thought they would wait a bit, wait for the Uber, then push in.
Yeah, they now find themselves with 50% Uber disadvantage, and nameLess want to come in, but they have the Uber to buy time for the respawns. They have to make sure they keep their players alive here. Happy-Cool's going to go down. Crowns coming in for the force. Onkaya doesn't know! He saved! Crucial rocket from AMS right there.
I think Drak whiffed the rocket there. I think he hit like the closer part of the ramp than the bit that Onkaya was standing on. Not the mistakes you should be making in the game in the semi-final, guys.
Somebody is watching over Crowns right now, but it isn't a coach here at the tournament. Onkaya survives with Uber charge. Permzilla has his charge up now too, so we go into another Uber versus Uber stalemate, but this time territory taken by Crowns as they take back their own CP2, and they've got Beavern back on the scope here. He's going to work his way forward towards Choke, and it doesn't look like the first shot will be expected. He's going to have an opportunity to pop one off. Did they see him there?
I don't think they have. Drak spamming now. I don't know if they're just...
I think...
Oh, they know.
They know now.
Yeah,
immediately counter-sniping here. He's gone back to spawn. And it's going to be more Machina on Machina action here on Process. This, I think this could be, a microcosm of the game we're going to see over the full 30 minutes here.
It's really weird, because so far, nameLess have had the map control, but they've just not been able to break Crowns, and Crowns' defenses have been on point. And they seem to actually be pretty comfortable as actually Happy-Cool wins that duel, and that will give nameLess the opening now as his push comes in. Stark's trying to walk it in, avoiding as much spam as he can, doesn't want to be forced too early. Taking his time, Permzilla's delaying as well to try and hold on to that Uber as Stark challenges them. Denied with an air shot, but Stark's still getting those heals, still walking forward. The Uber trade should be coming in now onto Onkaya. Onkaya's going to try and hold it, but can't risk it with that air shot attempt coming in from Stark. But Stark's got so much ground with this, but meanwhile, this player's going behind for Crowns right now, Admirable.
Amps goes straight into the sewer there to find Happy-Cool. who was still sniping there. So importantly, taking that out of the equation, allowing freedom here for Crowns to move forward unhindered by that sniper threat, but they've lost 4 players here for their troubles. Smear on Kaya trying to retreat. Spears isolated here, lands a fat pipe into the face of Captain.
Yeah, Spurs even got control of Onkaya as well, so they've been completely wiped off the back of that. They still need to cap second point, so they will get 3 more respawners for this defense, but those 2 respawners are the Demoman and the Medic. Those are the most important things you need for that last defense.
Yeah, really good play from Spud throughout now. Hit some really crucial shots and exposed an over-eagerness from Crowns to chase those frags and force the fight instead of playing with their Medic more. And now we find them in this difficult position, which they failed on twice, and they've done the same thing both times. For Spud jumping first, followed up with Stark, and it's failed twice.
Yeah, I think it all came down to the fact that AMS went in deep, and he did draw a lot of eyes, and a lot of people did take a while to kind of deal with him. But what seemed really strange to me was they just didn't link up or follow up all that action coming out from AMS. I think they had a huge opportunity to actually take out nameLess there, but the team just wasn't on the same wavelength as the Finnish soldier.
Onkaya has almost 4 Vaccinator bubbles available to him right now. I don't think nameLess will be expecting the switch up. Vax has been popped off here onto the heavy weapons guy. Beavern up top. Spud goes down, but Amps ends up trading with him. And the Vaccinator has been shown here to nameLess, and they just retreat immediately. They're going to try and play with buffs. It was a weapon they had great trouble dealing with against PC Master Race in their ETFTL official, but that was product, of course. But what lessons have they learned from that? I know it was definitely something they discussed afterwards. I think their general game plan to play against the Vaccinator is just to try and use the superior hidden of those normal mediguns, but will they remember these lessons right now in this very high-pressure situation? There's currently still 1-0 down here, and we're about to cross that halfway point in the map, CX.
Yeah, this is going to be crucial because they didn't know he was on Vaccinator, so it caught completely by surprise. I mean, they messed it up anyway because Spud got dropped once again. They need to do a different push, and they need to be aware. They need to take multiple damage types in. They know it's Vaccinator now, unless they presume they switched. But they've getting vision now. Spud's going to jump in more defensively, going to take the fight. But Vaccinator comes down, and Stark that's dropped again. What is this from nameLess? It's the same push, failed in a similar way every time, and Crowns look completely comfortable in this scenario.
I think this is what happens when a rock meets a very hard place. It's just they can't seem to push out because it's a Vaccinator. It's really difficult to meet the brunt of a truly well-put defense like a sticky trap or well-timed coordinated spam. But again, it's really hard for an Uber to push into a Vaccinator because you just can't get enough damage out, especially in the positions they are. The only damage they're going to get at that point is explosive damage. The bullet damage isn't going to be anywhere to damage them. So Onkaya doesn't even have to think too hard when using this Vaccinator. He just lays it on explosive resistance, and then that Uber push is just not really useful at all for nameLess.
nameLess just take a moment here to realize there's no sniper on the field. They don't need to Uber in. They're not going to get sniped. The only danger is a sticky trap. You can check that. Walk in, create some space for yourself, keep your buffs up, and work your way forward. They get the gun down here, direct with the spam, and they're now trying to get into a position where if they do Uber, they can really commit to kill on Kaya. Stark's up top on the right in his own. He's taking a lot of fire here from the heavy. They're trying to draw his attention. They managed to earn themselves another frag there onto Amps. The point is wide open. Spud's trying to stick it. He's calling for people to play it. And they now Uber and move forward. And that was a much more controlled push. And it's earned them around here, and they managed to tie things up on process.
Yeah, you see the disadvantage of the Vaccinator is the only person that's going to be healthy during that push is the person that you're actually healing, because you don't really keep that overheal at all. So they just entered in slowly, took out things one at a time. So they first took out the gun, then took out the sniper, then they just slowly started taking more ground, and just trying to pick off the people that weren't getting healed. Very well played by nameLess.
And now, as on the next mid, we see Spud bullying out Smurf straight away. He's had to back straight off into his own PC. Now nameLess is going to try and move forward off that. Stark leading the charge. The counter push is going to have to come from nameLess, really. But they're just getting pinned back. Smurf's being taken down, and that early pressure onto Smurf just won him nameLess for mid, straight off the bat.
Yeah, and now they're going to have no demo man for this second point hole. It's going to be really difficult. They can just enter in completely through. Nice air shot coming out by the two Romans there for each team. And they will trade, but sadly it's only Drak that's died, and in the meantime Crowns have been pushed back and they're still holding that player disadvantage.
Air-to-air action there, just traded air shots, but Atomic and Tiger still down. Starkey is up above and spamming down. They forced out the Uber here on Kaya, having to pop to keep his team alive. But as the counter pop comes in from Permzilla, they're actually at a man disadvantage. They've lost their Demo Man Spud as well. Crucial damage dealer needed in this fight. But they are finding frags. They turned it into a 4v4 here, and they just play the point that they managed to pull the rug out from underneath Crowns to make it 2-1. Some fast rounds coming in now, guys.
Yeah, they're starting to pull away now, and off the back of these early mid wins, they're taking the lead now. And it's all going to be about how Smur and Crown's going to adapt to this. Smur needs to stay in the mid and give his team a chance, because nameLess seem to have cracked the code of pushing last.
Yeah, I just want to take note as well. Happy Core did check that to see if they have a sniper for that mid, so they know there's going to be no sniper, so they're probably going to play a little bit more lax on this mid. Let's see if they do try and just go into autopilot mode, see if they can like bait out the jumps and then just take them out one at a time. So look, see, they're dealing with AMS right now, but he manages to kite himself away, even gets a bonus kill. That looks like that's going to start the domino effect for Crowns, and there you go. So Starkey feels like he has to go aggressive, but it's just him against 5 players. He does get some damage on Tonkaya, but not enough to take him out and maybe even delay off a second push / last push.
Seemed to be the soldiers of Crowns there, just hitting shots, doing work, because Smear was kind of caught behind on the right-hand side there.
Sorry, no, he gets nothing, he gets denied, but AMS going super deep to try and get an uppick onto Permzilla doesn't pay off.
I mean, I think it's worth it. They know once they cap that second point that they're going to go into a stalemate, so they might as well go send at least a few players to go for a mischievous play. But speaking of some plays, it's actually Happy Goal on the Spy.
It's fast becoming his main class here as he just chills out there up top in PC. Server room, you might call it, if you're from the North American continent. Wow.
North American content.
And he's now dropped down onto the green area.
This is just not going to happen. Like, look at the position.
That roller!
Oh, wow.
That roller gave him away. Such a random roller, just rolls exactly underneath Hafiko's feet, so he has to move away, but it gives himself away because he runs out of cloak.
I think the best attempt he could have made there is the AMS spy. They're literally just tagging each other in with these spies. As let's see if AMS can follow up any better. But I think a different approach he could have made there was like, yeah, he should have gone for the ambassador kill, but he probably could have sat back just a bit further and tried sniping him a bit more. It's very accurate, that ambassador gun.
It was just a random roller. He got so unlucky. It was so random. Now it's AMS's chance to try and avoid any random stuff. Got himself in a position, but he's kind of surrounded.
Look at him. He's literally like checking left, right. He's like he's crossing the road. He's not going to get caught by this spy. He's going to have to change a different target, or maybe set up a play with his team with just the intel of like seeing what they're doing.
Well, imagine if Kiedis was coaching nameLess right now. He'd basically have set himself a little egg timer, and he'd turn it over every 10 seconds and remind Permzilla to check his back for a spy, because that's something he really struggled with.
Whoa, are we allowed to bring the egg timer into the tournament? We did. That's not in the rules, Admirable, and they told Kai they couldn't bring an egg timer at the start of the tournament.
Permzilla's got his back to a wall. This is definitely something that Kiedis wanted to see.
Oh!
His spider sense was tingling. He reacts just in time to turn away that soft spot from Ams, and Stark delivers with the defense.
I can hear Ams from here. That was bullshit or something like that. I was very French to say it was Ams, but still, it was just a very unlucky play. He had him. He actually managed to get him when the few moments that he wasn't turning around, and the fact that he was just walking just a little bit forward was just Perm's lucky day.
Maybe Perm knew he was there. He was just trying to, beat him out. But threat dealt with for now, and on the respawn there, we're just going to see Beavern taking the opportunity to step through that roller door and come back as the sniper man. Looks like he is going to take it very slowly here, first shaking into the lobby. Now going to look for cover here from his team to try and get some shots off.
Take note that they have noticed this nameLess, and they decided to move everything forward. Hell, they're even building a dispenser for Permzilla just to make him feel just a bit more comfy in his surroundings. They've moved the sentry gun up to make that aggressive line a bit more difficult, so they're not even like pushing them into a place that is very bombable. So it's very nice to see nameLess adapting to the changes coming out by Crowns.
No one's really watching Wombo. They've really committed to this lobby area, but Beavern's not rotating. He's hanging around there. I think he's going to rotate now, but he's going to give nameLess time to adapt as well. There's not a lot of distraction as well. Like they're covering Beavern, but they're not making it difficult for nameLess to look up away. But he gets the pick anyway from one. Spud walks through at the wrong time. Now they've got an opening. No Demo Man, no spam. They're taking it through this Wombo. It's going to be a difficult Uber to take from here. They come in, Ubers are traded, they have the sentry to deal with as well. Stark wants to try and force them out, but Onkaya commits deep to get that last flash on. Onkaya's in trouble now, though he serves up rollout.
Thank you.
Perfectly played. And the push is going to continue, and they're just getting frag after frag, only 3 people alive. They've got a lot of damage on them, Crowns, but they're just picking off these players. There's not enough members left. 2-2 right now.
So it seems Stark did the unholy sin of focusing that medic once that Uber was finished. I know he does dish out a little bit of heals here and there, and he was kind of tasty because he was brought down a little bit low health. But the fact that he just focused down and brought out those rockets, he said if he was focused on any of the classes with guns, there'll be less people to kill his people and, you know, end out that round.
Big individual plays there from Crowns. First of all, with Bevan getting that pick on the spot, but then Am's really smashed Stark in the initial Uber engagement. Here we are onto middle number 5, 2-2 the score with less than 7 minutes remaining. And now we're going to see Stark jump forward on the left-hand side. He's looking for Drak to follow up. Drak's in deep onto Onkaya, gets the med pick. Both soldiers jump up onto the little high ground there, trying to control it. But as they retreat, Tiger catches them 2 for 1 and sends them both back into the spawn queue. Only 3 players up right now. For nameLess, they're tuck and tail trying to run here, but the retreat's been cut off by Atomic. He's calling his teammates forward. Firmzilla's gone down. This is insane right now. Crowns digging deep here to try and make something happen, but it seemed to be only their scouts that really wanted to commit to that push. Tiger and Smear still here on middle. Things have fizzled out.
Yeah, it was a bit greedy towards the end there by, I believe, was it Bevan or something? Someone along those lines.
Yeah,
well, once they got the meg pick, I mean, mission accomplished. You need to go back, start high-fiving each other on their midpoint, because if they just playing towards you, it gives them, of course, the longer respawn as well, because they've like wasted time trying to go back into you and like avenge him, and also it's just pointless fluff kills. It's not really going to help much when pushing this second point.
Yeah, and off the back of that, they're going to keep rolling it forward. They did lose on Kaya, so it is just a non-Uber versus non-Uber 5. They're trying to make their way in. They're spamming back Stark. Spurs being left to hang out to dry a bit now. Stark is all over him. Surely Spurs going to go down. The arrow keeps him up. Spurs going to try and jump out. He's going to make it out just about. They did lose Tiger in the midst of all that now, but Drak goes ahead of his team.
He needs another crossbow, and he does get it, so he's probably going to stay out. And they died so deeply for the smear kill. They kind of baited out nameless players and got even a 3 kill on Drak for that. They've gone in with the Uber, but they are getting maybe a slightly better one. Oh no, but these positions are horrible by Crowns. They dedicated a bit too much. Onkaya doesn't want to sit in, so Crowns are just kind of rubbing against Uber players that are going to have the charge just a little bit longer, and they did lose 2 players off the back of that. Maybe a miscommunication coming out by Crowns.
They knew that they did previously have Uber advantage, but by the time they actually went to pop and take that engagement, Perm had his charge up, and it was a no-brainer for him. Hit that right click, and his team just crushed face and are able to defend their second and retake middle. It's now pretty much neck and neck in terms of these Uber charges, but we do see a sniper on the field here. Beavern is going to continue to heat up this scope, and again is looking towards Choke. Does a little damage to Stark there, sends him down to half health, but doesn't manage to claim the frag, and now nameLess know the sniper is the threat again, and they can try and decide how they're going to deal with it over the next 4 minutes and 20 seconds here. Still 2-2.
I think the best way to deal with the sniper is just literally get into the face of Crowns. I know it's going to be really difficult and you're asking a lot to just have everybody dedicate in, and instead they're just sending Drak to bomb in, and oh my god, he does a wondrous bomb. He gets a nice little force onto Onkaya there. Probably the right call by Onkaya, because he was brought down to pretty low health, and I think he was going to go down to a rocket if he didn't pop it. So you know, good play after good play so far in these games. Yeah,
Stark playing it close now as well, but Crowns don't fall for the bait. Soldier going in, cleaned up straight away. Spud goes down to the sniper though, and Stark's now thinking twice about this push, and is back out to Choke. He's still holding close though. He wants Crowns to overextend. He's ready for that overextension and to capitalise on it fully. But Crowns are playing this really well, really cautiously, not giving Stark an opportunity now he wants. Now Stark's going to try and go again. The sniper's not looking. He's going to get in for free on the sniper. Forced him out of position. The frag will be got, and now we can force them out pretty hard, and they should be able to save this even for last fight, but they've got to be quick if they want to go in before Onkaya has it. Only 30% left, Admirable.
Crisp rockets from range there from Stark to get that sniper pick, and the window of opportunity is closing fast here if they really want to go. They've actually popped in early here. They're trying to send Stark forward, but Onkaya will get his charge up, and he has all the time in the world to milk this one. He's going to unleash Amps here, giving a little flash off to Atomic at the same time. He picks up that frag onto Drak as they try and snowball a little bit of momentum out of last here. It seems that they've run out of steam though. They're going to retreat. Their health isn't great. Onkaya very much aware that 2-2 would be a great result for Crowns here so far in the first 30 minutes of process.
Yeah, a bit slow coming out by nameLess. I guess if they tidy things a bit up, they could have got out a bit quicker and maybe gotten Onkaya before he had that Uber charge. But from the position of Monkai as well, they probably could have made the face call like, okay, we're probably not going to get him. We need a different plan, a different use out of this Uber. Maybe a point play, or hell, maybe even like just delay things out for a good old-fashioned stalemate and do a more methodical push later.
Yeah, and that stalemate is exactly where we find ourselves right now. No off-classes as of yet from nameLess, no real opportunity for them to die. It looks like it's Drak who's the furthest forward, so I imagine some kind of suicide attempt.
AMS is checking if they have a sniper, and they do not, so they're probably going to change their play accordingly. They're going to still sit back, make sure they have to keep them from an arm's reach, basically, while still defending the point.
Yeah, and it's going to be an opportunity right now for someone to off-class. I imagine it'll be Happycool. He's been doing the bulk of it for nameLess since the class switch around following Kaiser's departure. And it's kind of all on nameLess right now. Like, honestly, if you're Crowns, there's 1 minute 40 seconds left, it's 2-2. Your best opportunity is to hold and take a reset in a golden cap. But so they're gonna bury themselves here, essentially, just dig their heels in.
He didn't take the opportunity to go back to the spawn door there whenever Drak spawned, so we're just going to keep it the straight up cookie cutter formation here. Uber's still available to both medics. Stark walking in for free on the right hand side, checks the stickies, knows it's safe, sees the gun. They can spam this down. He's looking for a little support from his team, manages to take it down single-handedly, but his health is so low he has to retreat here. But now they've given themselves a little foothold to push in here on the right hand side. Only really Tiger there to contest them, plus the sniper threat of Beaver, and they're trying to play the angles here. They're very much aware of it, and Drak's about to come in bottom left. He's got Beaver and blindsided. 2 rockets sends that sniper packing, and now we can see nameLess roll in here on the right hand side. They still have time to take this map, 50 seconds remaining. They have this one-man advantage. Their health is pretty poor right now. Drak's had to step out of the fight briefly. Stark's going to try and get the force out, but he actually ends up dying. They're going to sacrifice Stark here for a big Uber advantage. Now it's all on Spot and Happy to find these frags. Captain's coming into the fray as well. They're going to be able to clean up Tiger. They're switching their attention to the left-hand side, but as the Uber fades, Amsa has the high ground control here. Monkai is running in looking for Saws. There's bodies dropping like flies here. Crowns just don't have the numbers to block the point, and nameLess have managed to come up with the goods here on map number 1. There's no way that Crowns can get back into this as they make it 3-2.
That was all on Drak there. He drew so many eyes over on that left-hand side, and nobody would just seem to deal with him or care. And he was just slowly plucking away at them, making it annoying to like deal with. And he was finishing off players that were retreating to that other side. And it really just dominoed from that point on. It started with Drak and it ended with Drak.
3-2, the final score here on map number 1 process. A little bit of BM there from Happycool saying in chat, if only we had a coach, we might have won.
Well, I think the argument is like nobody's disagreeing that nameLess would have won with or without a coach, but maybe it's just more about the principle of it.
But
and I mean, they took it anyway, but it wasn't
convincing.
It wasn't convincing, especially their last pushes is where I guess the biggest questions are asked. Like, they did get it in the end, they got 3 rounds, but now opening 15 minutes was very shaky. They did the same things, the same mistakes multiple times, but they did fix it, and they do often start slower in games and then build up, but that's quite close. I mean, Crowns played well, and Crowns had opportunities to take it, and opportunities to hold it and take it to a golden cap.
I think it definitely was a game in 2 halves there. Like, the first 50 minutes, as you say, very reminiscent of nameLess yesterday, but some of their pushes on last towards the end, they were like really controlled. They were just focused on staying alive and working these small advantages and then trying to snowball those into bigger advantages. But like, they'd realized initially that these really early Uber pops weren't working for them. They had to come up with something different, and it was partly Onkai's decision to go Vaccinator that made them think differently and take a different approach. Just like the way different players were poking in from different sides, Drak coming in, not really committing to the fight, just getting that one pick, and people showing themselves made it really difficult for Crowns to try and manage that, and they really crumbled under the pressure there, as we would expect. nameLess, the favourite team here, coming out on top.
Yeah, it's really the true signs of a good team. Usually the better teams are the ones that do much better in the second half than the first half, as they just analyse the game, pick up what essentially the weaknesses of the opposing enemy teams. I could think of like great teams from past generations like Epsilon, they would always be so much better towards the second half of the map than the first half. So maybe this trend just goes to show how healthy nameLess still are without, Daddy Kado telling them what to do.
Yeah, it's quite strange because we're making a lot of, I guess, uncharacteristic mistakes from their previous era. Like Drak seems slightly out of sync sometimes. Their pushes, it takes them a long time to get it right. Like half a map to start getting your pushes right is quite a long time.
It just depends on the team, I guess, how punishing that said team is. And the fact that things slowed down in that first half of the game was probably towards the best for nameLess, because who knows if they just went balls to the wall over on I'm completely blanking on the name now, Crowns, and they might have just taken enough rounds and they could have just digged their heels in, and then they probably wouldn't even have a chance to make a comeback. Yeah,
I mean, the silver lining to this is now, while they weren't getting rounds, they weren't losing a lot of rounds. They kept it close, and it meant that once they figured out these last pushes, they could really then actually take the lead. As we look at the logs now, quite a slow game overall. We're going to see a lot of low sort of damage per minute on everyone.
Yeah, usually when it comes to these stalematy maps, all the projectile classes are going to get skewed damages, just from spam damage. So whilst it may be very nice to just point fingers at, say, Happy Call and say, Happy Call, why is there only 4k damage in this game? It's completely out of his control, really.
It's also an issue with pauses as well. So the per minute stats will appear slightly lower as well because more time was technically played in the log. But that's just a weird aside there, guys. What in particular is standing out for you amongst this field of numbers we see before us on stream?
Captain.
Bevan is a better sniper than Happy Call, it seems, purely going off the headshot count alone. But it did kind of break up stalemates here and there, and they were even confident enough to take it to middle, which was nice to see. But I think they need more tricks up their sleeve than that, because once they did it once, they immediately adapted to it, and it was just punished the next time it was run.
Onkaya looking very stressed out there on stream underneath. And he's clearly feeling pent up after that game, because for long periods of it, it felt like Crowns were in control here. They kind of let nameLess back into this. There was that one particular push where they kind of committed really hard into CP2 or CP4. Just as Permzilla got Uber, they got mobbed up there and things rolled back again. But like, they were definitely within grasp of victory here for the longest of times. So I can understand why the guy's looking a little stressed out right now.
Yeah, I've noticed that this game there wasn't a great counting of Ubers. Like a lot of the time both teams would bump into each other and be like, oh god, you got an Uber, and then they have to just like try and pick up the pieces, get out, or maybe they're just taking a bit too long to get in there and capitalize off of their little tiny advantages. So it's been not exactly perfect TF2 coming out from both teams. It's just been more like who can make the mistakes the least.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Kai, because it's a really heartbreakingly similar story to their first game. The Gully Wash game against Perilous, where they played a really good game and somehow it was just sort of pulled from underneath them, and they found themselves in a similar situation once again. Last time this happened to them in round 1, they absolutely crumbled and got pulled apart on Reckoner.
Yeah, they ended up losing at 5-0.
5-0, win limited, and now they're in the exact same situation again. So this is going to be a real test for Crowns from this position.
On the bright side of things, this was nameLess's map pick, so over on Gully Wash, it's probably going to be a different story. Maybe they even have like a little pocket strat just set up for nameLess themselves, because that's the team that everybody wants to beat.
Yeah, I'm sure whenever they were doing their preparations last night, they weren't just thinking about how they would manage to get past comfortably Spiked. They were obviously considering ahead how they can manage to beat nameLess and cause a real upset here at the tournament. They have managed to do that so far on map 1, but luckily for them, it is a best-of-3 series, and they still have chances here. And looking at the aggregate stats on the map, look how close it was. Only 2 frags, the difference, and only about 2k damage separate them. But a slight mid advantage there for Crowns, but unable to make that into a map win.
Yeah, it just goes to show the prowess of those 2 soldiers over on Crowns and their land superpowers. AMS is obviously notorious for just being really good on LAN. Tiger seems to be like almost as like mirror matchup soldier buddy when it comes to LAN as well. He seems to be having a good LAN so far, in my opinion. Say it's his first LAN. Yeah,
no, he's fit straight in. He doesn't look uncomfortable at all. He's hitting these shots. He's playing the game. The team's playing better as a whole, and he's building off that better. It's always difficult on Roma when the rest of the team's not pulling their weight, as it were, or you've got a lot of people down a lot of the time. They're much better in this tournament, and Tiger's just able to shine more off the back of that. As we go into the caps for each team per point and the conversion rates, it's interesting to see the conversion rate for Crowns, 100%, but they only got 2 attempts at it, which is kind of a shame, because their last pushes were fine, but they had those 2 chances, and it was that push, as you said earlier, Admirable, from 3 to CP2, where they tried to push into perm, they got carried away, and from that point, nameLess had map control from there onwards.
Yeah, and this leads also into the fact that, sure, they would win mids, but they wouldn't win them outright as much as nameLess did. For example, like they would lose their medic, so they couldn't quite make that even that attempt to go to last. Sometimes they would be able to back out like 5 of their players after just judging, oh, this is a bad mid for us, and we're just going to hold back on second. So it just goes to show how controlled and safe nameLess are in their decision making.
Yeah, as we move on to the frags per cap point, what impressed me, it came out on the overall, like the individual player logs as well. Like Captain just seemed to get a lot more frags, a really standout performance. Where he's not been bad, but he's not been good. He's just kind of done his job so far in this tournament. And seeing him step up is just another weapon to help nameLess perform. And you see, especially in terms of when them attacking last, Captain's the one who found these frags when they made it a messy DM fight, and these post-Uber frags from Captain, especially on these last 2 points, really what made the difference in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, notably that not just he was actually finding frags this time, but his previous maps through the tournament, he had actually been kind of dying quite frequently as well, not really fulfilling that really efficient scout role, so managing to stay alive and get those frags and making his opposite numbers look a little pale by comparison.
Other things I can notice from these relative frags by zone is that the second point defense by Crowns is not very good. You don't even see them so much on the board at all. It seems once they figure out how to crack that initial stalemate, they're not really good at handling nameLess on their own second point, Crowns.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem. Once they were on last, they were pretty good at holding last, as you can see from that conversion rate we looked at earlier. They held a fair few times. Unfortunately, they were never able to get back out from that in any sort of consistent manner, and that meant that, you know, sooner or later nameLess were able to find a way because they had so much time to try and find a way. So once they cracked the door once and got that last push against the vaccinator hold, they were then able to keep it rolling, keep the pressure on, and Crowns never had a chance to do anything but defend.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really see anything that jumps out to me at these stats. I mean, Smear has like +3 because it's a demo man on last. It's bound to happen. Shows that AMS is doing a lot of work, maybe a little bit on his own last points, but even pushing out as well. So it goes to show how good his Ubers are. Very reminiscent of maybe even Zebasai, who was once his soldier partner.
His mentor.
His mentor.
Plucked him from an MGE server into the ranks of the Premiership.
Rubbed off a little bit of those godly soldier powers from the Swede.
We move on now to the kills during Uber. Very even, as you would expect from quite a slow game, where lots of the Ubers were just traded as you would expect.
Yeah.
Not a lot of frags dropped at any point, and even in the post-Uber fights. Everyone's playing this very conservatively.
Yeah, we've noticed, actually, usually nameLess have, I would say the biggest thing that stands out to me is like their post-Uber fights are usually extremely good, but in this game, I've been a bit disappointed in that.
Yeah, especially early on. I think it's kind of weird. It's a shame we can't see the stats as sort of the first half and the second half, because I feel like nameLess's stats in the second half, in terms of their Uber pushes, are going to be significantly better than their first half, and their first half is why it's kind of dragging them down, as it were.
Yeah, I think it leads back to, do you remember the few times in the first half where Stark was constantly being picked off, and he's the main caller of the team? It's quite detrimental to not have that main caller in the fight and like calling how where you should position yourself, how the state of things, if it's good Uber, bad Uber, all these little details like that.
Yeah, as we move on now to the sort of player heads-to-heads, to sort of the BM stat. Who has beaten who has...
Look at that Smear versus Stark. This goes back again to just Stark just being the first one in all the time, and Smear is the first line of defense for the Crowns team. And I agree with you, Admirable, in the pre-game where you said like he's always the one that's the first to go in. Why can't he just be the general and like sit back and let his troops go forward?
Yeah, let them bring him the information, but he doesn't mind peeking, you know.
You can take the scout off the scout, but you can't take the scout out the soldier, I guess.
Interesting note there that...
what?
Captain
I'm just saying he likes to peek, okay? It's a bit. I guess it was a bit of a stretched.
I didn't say anything.
Okay,
please
fine.
carry on.
I just had to look at you. Okay, I saw the. Oh, that one.
The stats have gone, guys, and I'm looking over here at the players. Only on Kai is sitting there for Crowns. Everyone else has gone outside to de-stress. But nameLess still all sitting keen here. There's a guy leaning over them, talking to them here. He must be like to coach them outside of the actual game itself, but
hey, that's allowed.
Coach Kato is there. We're not going to flog this dead horse anymore, but he is definitely looking happy. We saw like a lot of the mistakes that he had talked about yesterday, about how Permzilla wasn't checking enough for spies. We saw that like live in action.
Yeah. That is definitely improved out of anything. That's like clear as day that he's been checking out on those spies. On Kaiser too as well, or maybe more so his team. His team have been quite on patrol for those spies.
Or maybe Happy's just bad at spy.
Spies
maybe it's like a two-pronged
really prolific
problem.
this tournament. But perhaps an interesting thing to note was that even though for the first half of the map we saw Happy playing spy a couple of times in various off classes, right at the very last push when they sealed the map, he had that chance to go back when Drac died and change, but he didn't. They just wanted to keep it simple and play, the basic TF2 style, 2 scouts, 2 soldiers, and a demo man, and that's what managed to win them the round. They didn't have to rely on any gimmicks.
I don't think they have the same faith in Happy as they do on Stark.
Well, that could definitely be it, actually.
I mean, Stark's got much more experience on this. Stark's played Sniper for a long time. He's very prolific. Like, even though he doesn't play it as much now, he used to play Sniper all the time. He's very talented at it.
He's actually really good at spy as well, but he rarely goes to the class. Maybe he just doesn't think it's as good as or powerful as other people do. But I guess the benefit of going just cookie cutter is like you can adapt very quickly and easily, and it can be used in most situations, and it allows flexibility, I suppose, for your main caller to just go with any sort of play.
Yeah.
The spin I'm putting on it is that, they let Happy Cool do what he wanted throughout, the 28 minutes leading up to this point. But when the chips were down and it was like, our tournament life, well, not exactly, our tournament life on the line, they're like, okay, Happy, not this time. Just play Scout. And they managed to make it work, CX.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to see. You often saw Bevan and Atomic both on off classes during that last push, or last holds even, and Captain coming out trumps. And on that open process last, it's particularly hard to deal with scouts. If a scout's dancing around on an offer point, you're on gunboats, you've only got a couple of, or you're trying to keep the stickies on the point, you only got pipes, you need that scout to clean it up. If a heavy and engineer get focused down, suddenly you've not got that. And I think we're going to Gully Watch Admirable.
Well, the dramatics swoosh and
I'm getting a subtle hint.
Tell us that it is time for map number 2, and we have gone live here. We're watching this mirror cam as he rolls out 2 choke and starts to spam towards Big Door. Nice spot with the shiny gun doing the same here, but both teams trying to set their pieces in position here for this mid fight.
Yeah, the first thing I'm seeing is a big boy AMS bomb. He's just going into the thick of things. He does kind of get kited by the rest of nameLess. And you do see some fights scattered here, there, and everywhere. Happy Cool does end up trading overall, and it seems to be even right now. It just seems who has the better positioning. It looks like nameLess do. Tiger's trying to fight up against 2-player. Oh, nice like bitch slap of a rocket there on that scout. That just completely turned things around there for Crowns.
Great work from Tiger on that mid. Playing underneath, he's waiting for an arrow from Onkai, but Onkai couldn't send it out straight away, as we do go into another pause. But just going back to that, yeah, Tiger's play underneath mid, really good.
Happy Cool, the victim here of the pause. I don't think he actually died, he just seemed to get disconnected. I wonder, are they going to reset this? Or
yeah, straight back in. Well,
we're back in the game here, guys. Forget about it.
Easy come, easy go. Well, so let's see what sort of pieces they can pick up from that mid fight, and transitions to second. Nobody notices. Oh, nice pipe coming out from Sword. That was very crispy there. Kind of quick reactions to make sure he doesn't get on top of him. Not even a scratch on the English medic. Yeah, so things are just playing calm now. They're going to both think about things. They've both got their full Uber advantages apiece, so it's just up to them how they want to approach this. It's really the ball's in the court for Crowns to make the first move, because they have got that forward respawn advantage.
Interesting position in here from Crowns. Like, both their soldiers up on the nipple, no soldier holding close. They're just relying on Smira to take the full Uber. Seems to be the way they're trying to position this. Like, if Stark decides to try and commit here, which is probably unlikely, you know that nameLess love to just hold this second area around the rock. They're going to wait and see if Crowns want to make a play here and try and punish any mistakes that come about from it.
Yeah, I just noticed for a second there, maybe my eyes might have deceived me, but I think Happy Cool went spy just to quickly check if there was an enemy spy on the Crowns team. So, clearly nameLess have been visibly shaken by these spy plays in the past.
Yeah, they're going to be aware Beaver's on Sniper, definitely now after he shot at them a couple of times. And now it's just a waiting game. They're trying to make space, but it's actually AMS and Tiger both go down on Big Door, and what a mistake. They've been caught out here. It's up to Beaver now, ready to get another frag, and that frag on Captain is going to slow him down, and it might just put him off this push altogether.
Yeah, they don't want to push that from that choke point because Smear just has it so much of it stickied off. It makes it really difficult to kind of slow push in, which is what they want to try and do. They could have maybe gone for just a ball to the wall Uber and just go straight into the thick of things and fight them from there. And I think it might have worked out, but they were a bit scared of those forward respawners coming back from that midpoint advantage. Yeah,
definitely. Even though they had that 2-man advantage, it was kind of a false economy there. With the spawns, the fact that Uber was going to waste 8 seconds of that spawn time, and they have to dodge the sniper shots throughout the whole engagement. They've just decided to play it safe here rather than take that, risky coin toss. They're going to sit here and defend with impunity as long as Perm can hit that right click to save Stark if any Uber trade does come in. But both teams showing each other a lot of respect. The information is still available here to nameLess that Beavern is sniping, so they've decided to bring out Captain on the scope here as well.
Yeah, they're looking for a pick on the flank, it seems, but it looks like Tiger doesn't want to commit too deep, so I'm not sure if what they're going to do after that doesn't yield anything. You can see from his sideline he can't really push his avenue shot as he's sat all the way back, but he does kind of lay some damage into Tiger, so that's called it out for the team now. So things are even going to get slower here for both teams now that he knows he's there.
There's no reason for nameLess to push in this situation. That's why they're just happy to let Captain take the duel. Beaven's trying to get super aggressive, but he's trying to go through choke. It's a really difficult shot. You have to proper commit for the hero shot at that point. So they're just going to keep rotating Beaven. And neither team wants to give the early advantage away in this, and that's why we're seeing this slow, controlled play. And it's actually Captain debut on the sniper class in this tournament. They're going to take down Beaven straight away, and it might cue a push or at least a peek to allow more angles and more opportunities for Captain to get a shot off.
Yeah, they even rotated the entire combo around here, and with Drac playing in place of Stark here, so see if he can get in. Oh, Tiger, he has been knocked down from his post, and AMS actually gets the spam kill onto Captain, so that sniper has been taken away from Crowns. I mean, from nameLess, sorry, as they're trying to push this choke area. Smear gets caught out. He's been going to get cleaned up. That surely has to be the green light to push for nameLess now. Yeah,
just 2 bunched up there from Crowns. It's still Uber versus Uber here, though, so with 5 players up on each side, Amps wants to hold close to try and maximize his splash damage in that tiny choke point. Stark realizes there's not a real advantage here. He's going to sit back and wait for a more clear opportunity. But the current class composition for both sides sees Beavern still on sniper, but Captain now playing scout again, so Beavern might have a little bit of free reign here, or an opportunity to find that pick.
I know it's scary to go into these sorts of pushes, but there's not every day that you pick off a demo man. I feel like you have to just bite the bullet sometimes and know that's probably the best opportunity you're going to get. But
I mean, I think on the other side of that coin, I think that was a great decision from Onkaya, because if he had popped there to save Smur, it would have been an unfavourable Uber for them. Stark would have got a fat solo, been able to do what he's so good at in these Uber exchanges, whereas he gambles now they're not going to push off the back of it because they still have a sniper to contend with. He's right, and now he's kept his team in this positional advantage and in this great position as Beaven again gets really aggressive trying to pick off Stark. Can't find the angle though, and it's all on Beaven right now, Admirable.
Yeah, going for the hero shot here. I'm going to peek, try and create a little bit of space, see if they could have juggled someone into that sight line perhaps, but it hasn't happened just yet. They're going to go back and buff up again, and perhaps rather rinse repeat here. A slight move up there from Tiger towards the flank, but really their full attention is on choke here. They're trying to find a pick amongst these combo players of nameLess here, all just held with their backs against the wall here. Permzilla, of course, still on vigilant spy checking duty, keeping most of his backside against the wall, but still constantly looking around here, flashing his teammates. But little does he know, there is no spy on the frame right now. It's Beavern is the threat, and they're actually going to send Amps in here. He manages to get quite high in the air, but just gets suspended there by the combined fire of Stark, Haffy, and Captain, and he will go down. And is that just a reverse pick? Are they hoping to bait the push right from nameLess here? That's the question.
I mean, to be fair, that was probably the best play AMS could have gone for. Breaking it down, Spud was attention in putting his stickies on the flank, so that did give a slight opportunity to jump from that hidden sight line and see maybe if he can get on top of Permzilla. But the scouts were just on point there, kind of keeping him floated up into the air with those scattergun shots and never giving him the opportunity. Tiger's having to go with it though, and he almost brings him down. You can see why that's probably the best avenue to try and take out Permzilla, but Permzilla feels confident in his team to not drop him.
Yeah, it's a weird situation right now because Crowns are pretty confident they can sacrifice one player without nameLess committing to the push. Like, Stark has a look, but as soon as he sees that sniper, it's going to be such an unfavorable trade because of how early they're going to pop, so he backs out of it. Ooh, so now Crowns are in a pretty unique situation where they can just...
Have you seen Happy Cool's position?
He managed to get way behind.
He's managed to get up here with the Boston Basher, picks up the kit.
Oh, Atomic spotted him though, so now we're going to have a fun little scout like search for Happy Cool. He's like enemy number 1, but I think they're not going to dedicate too many resources though, and it is going to make the defense a bit split for them. So I think this scout is going to be worth it. You see, they even dedicating Tiger to just watching a doorway, and even Atomic is like dedicating his attention to places all over the map for him.
Very smart play from Tiger. He doesn't want to jump up and try and take a fight at range with Happy, and Happy playing cat and mouse here. Spots out the threat. Now they're going to commit 3 players to the chase here for Happy Cool. If Happy Cool could relay this information to his teammates, they might just go in and take that 5 versus 3 on Chook, but the Ubers still available means that probably not the right idea. And again, we're just going to see nameLess take the path of least resistance here. They're going to hold, they're not going to take any risks, and they're going to say, well, Happy, you tried, treat out with Tiger, fair enough, but that's going to be the end of that for now.
Oh, the BM in the chat, even Tiger saying, coach tell you to do that, and good God, do they need a coach at this moment? I bet they're all scratching their heads right now thinking, what would Kato do?
At this point in time, I think nameLess is in nameLess's hands. 1 minute 50 seconds, they give a reset, they get another shot at mid, and Crowns have wasted this opportunity. We're already 10 minutes into the game, and they've not been able to gain any ground after this mid cap. And it's going to start getting to that point where they need to try something soon, unless they're happy to take the reset rather than risking losing too many people in this fight and getting rolled even further back.
Stark brutally shutting down Tiger there, set up the frag for Happy and Captain, but totally denied in his attempt at bomb forward there from Choke. But still, as you say, with this option now of just going for the 1 minute and 20-second timeout, why not wait? Who wants to push at this point unless it's like 6 down and Onkai just drops everyone?
I think your best bet here is to probably... Actually, no, then again, that wouldn't be the greatest. Oh, actually, MS has just decided to go with it. Onkai actually ends up dropping his pocket, so this is the favorable Uber that they were expecting to have. But Stark doesn't look like he wants to commit into it. It's still very scary because AMS is going to come back any second now on that resupply, and it's going to be a tough fight for them. And they've during all of that, they've got to worry about the Beaven sniper just being a headache in the back of their heads.
I think both teams want the reset. Like, no one wants to commit too far. Both teams are happy right now to wait this last 35 seconds, take the reset, and I'd be surprised if we do anything other than go back to mid right now.
Time to pad your stats, boys. Build those logs up.
They go in. They're actually committing everyone through Choke.
Well, there's 30 seconds left. They're thinking, well, there's no way they can lose this. They might as well just throw everything in the kitchen sink at them. Because if they do manage to wipe, I don't think they'll even have the time to cap all the points over on the side of nameLess.
But if they cap the point, the timer will reset. And now it's a 2v2. Kai is super deep, and they might wipe off the back of this. Just Atomic versus everyone. He's so high in the air. Rocket's flying at him, but he's got high ground. They're both weak. Great Rocket from Drak. Crucial. They're going to try and get on the point. Spud's going to touch it. And Crowns, they should have taken the reset. It was so risky to commit everyone at that last minute. Now we're going to see Beaven coming back on Sniper from the big door. But Crowns, they lose it.
I think some teams just don't understand the mechanic of how that round end time works, because like they didn't need to do that. They could have just taken the reset. They wouldn't have lost anything except for the fact that they won a mid-fight. But
I think that they just didn't prepare for the fact that they would have just gone and capped the midpoint at all. Usually, if they are thinking so hard about a reset, you just look at the time, it's like, well, 5 seconds left, we'll just wait for the reset.
But like the fact that they played the CP4 point and kept it active meant it was going to go into overtime anyway. Like Spud didn't necessarily need to jump on the point. I think all they had to do was use that decay time to walk forward. But it just seems like they didn't really have a clear plan. They're like, well, we don't want to give this one up for free. We're going to roll the dice and see what happens. And they lost out here. They've lost their kind of stranglehold on mid, but now it's nameLess. They have to decide what to do. Spud's down at the minute. Atomic is going to get a 16-second spawn there, courtesy of Drak. Stark has full control of the choke point here, waiting for his demo man to get back on the field, and Spud will rejoin them.
There's kind of a huge hole on this flank area. Oh, thank God Tiger's rotated around, but it seems they're all trying to move in packs here. They find Bevan actually gets a pick onto Stark. That's going to be a huge pick for the team. And AMS Tiger thinking about trying to cause trouble in all their places. AMS does get spotted out, so decides to back out instead. But because they've lost so many people on the flank now...
They saw the stickies! They saw the stickies! The sniper was clearing them, but Kai goes over them anyway! They lose their medic, and what a chance this is right now, as they're just cleaning up all the people right now.
That is a miscommunication problem if I've ever seen one. It just seems so strange. I mean, they're even on land. They probably can... Kai could just look over and see there's probably stickies on his teammate's monitor.
Very high pressure situation here, and it is Crowns who seem to be choking ever so slightly. They find themselves just edged more and more back, defending their last round. Now they've got Atomic on NG. Onkai currently about 35% off the Uber pace, a significant advantage for nameLess to push on, and I'm pretty sure they're actually going to push this time, CX.
Yeah, now they've got this sort of stranglehold and it's 50% advantage. They've got all their players there, all their players buffed. Stark is checking through the window, seeing where they are. He wants to take this straight away. Go in with a scout. He's going to see the sentry now, but chooses to take it down now. They force one of the soldiers riverside. That's going to be Tiger going down. Stark's got a great position at the end of the super. He's going to bait point though, but they're cleaning up so many frags. It seems to just be a matter of time now. AMS with one last effort, but the heals are just too strong for nameLess. And all off the back of that gamble at choke is going to be nameLess to take the first round.
Yeah, they just lost too many players too quickly towards the tail end there. Tiger went down a lot earlier than he should do, and that just started the dominoes rolling. And at this point, they didn't even have a chance to build an Uber and defend, use that to defend with. And it didn't help that Tiger was kind of hidden in water. Not Tiger, the Smear was hidden in water and wasn't really contributing to that fight at all.
A solid Uber push though coming up from nameLess. They didn't overcommit to the point, and they just controlled the high ground for the post-Uber fight. Here we go to middle number 2. It was a long first round, 50 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock here as the fight gets underway, and it's Beaver who's going to give away first blood to Drac. But Crowns continue to lose players here, but Permzilla's gone down to Tiger with a huge bomb forward.
Jesus, Perm had a hell of a surf there. He actually was on like 2 HP, and if he just landed on any other piece of the ground except this like tiny little ledge, he would have created. But it was not all for naught anyway, because he ended up dying in the aftermath. But it's okay. Onkai spills his blood to Drax pickaxe.
Yeah, that's going to leave a really big advantage for Perm, despite not being able to get away on mid. Crown's going to set up on CP2, but there's already some stickies on that, but it looks like nameLess is going to fall back, take their time, and it seems to be a crit streak swap from Onkai.
Onkai recognizing that he wants to change the kind of claustrophobic atmosphere of this game. They've been suffocating. He's going to try and bring a little fresh air with the crit streak. He's catching so much spamming as he tries to come out into second, because nameLess have already kind of entered for 3 through choke. They've got 4 players in. They were on the high ground, but Captain goes down. Stark's committed deep to this. He's going to get launched onto the high ground, trading big direct rockets there.
Oh,
actually finds the pick onto Atomic. He's making the best of a bad situation here, managing to trade out when he was horribly caught forward, but Permzilla's had the pop here, or he's decided to anyway, and he's leading forward with Spud, but Beavern's gone behind. He's not sure who to shoot. Happy Girl's just storming forward. They just need to focus down a couple of frags here, but it's Happy stealing all Spud's frags.
Are they going to go for it? AMS is going to wait for him. No, he's going for it, but Chris is coming out right now. Shoots 1, shoots 2. Now he's got a scout above him. Going to be a difficult shot. Chooses to jump him. They will clean up that frag, but that's not really what they wanted from that. But they do hold on to the point, and they're probably going to get crits about the same time that nameLess get Uber right now.
Yeah, and this is why you don't see crits put on to the soldier. Those projectiles are just so slow, and they light up like a Christmas tree. There's no point in really going for those long-range shots. It's only used in those close-range emergency situations. Oh, BM even kills himself. He doesn't care. Wow.
What?
Maybe a bit too proud of his kill there. Maybe forgot that.
He pressed the wrong button.
Who has taunt on Z? Somebody changed their bind previously to their taunt
Whoever
on
was
Z.
sitting there before.
I'm sure this is nameLess. They've just changed the binds all over on Crowns. Maybe it's Kado. He's got nothing to do now, so he's just sneaking about, tying the shoelaces underneath the players under the tables. So.
What would have been man advantage there for Crowns ends up as a straight trade.
We've even got a camera on Kado, and it's like, nope, not him.
Onkai has his crits up, but I mean, Permzilla's still aware that it is crits, so Kaya knows that they know. He was trying to play defensively, but now they're going to take this gamble. But this is unless Permzilla just drops somebody here, this is going to be disastrous. But actually, they just ghosted them. They've kited back into the lobby here, haven't even used the crits. They faked it out, they baited them into that uber push there. They thought it was going to be a slam dunk, but no, now it's on Kaya with the upper hand, but his teammates are dropping. Amps and Tiger both down. It's going to be all on Smear and Kaya here if they want to take this huge 3 versus 5 gamble with the crits.
Yeah, you do see the slight disadvantage of using soldiers to first go in with that Uber, because they have to use ammunition to either fight or use ammunition to move, and if you need to fight and move, that's just not happening. So, but it works nonetheless. They will lock down this second point, but I'm sure they were hoping for a wipe there and maybe even getting the last point from it.
They have to push right now. They've got this crits advantage. They've only got a 30% window to get on to Perm, but Perm's hanging so far back. They know it's crits. They know where it's going to come from. The spam's on. Spud's got stickies above the door. They will be seen, but it means AMS is going to be isolated for a little bit. He comes out of the door now. They're going to try and hold on to this crits. We're going to have Uber soon to block. Mir's trying to hold down Big Door, but Perm's going to meet his players at Big Door, and this could be the push coming back in from nameLess, and the cap's only just started. And actually, they choose to back off nameLess.
Maybe they've learned from last time, thinking, man, our Uber wasn't too great last time, so we'll just play it safe for now. I mean, they still have a crits creep. I mean, an Uber versus a crits creep, so it's still the ball is in their core.
I'm not sure why they didn't commit to that. Like, Uber versus crits is like rock versus scissors. It wins every time if you take the fight.
Yeah, but I guess it was just that previous fight where they were just kited so well, they just don't want it to happen again.
One option would be to Uber in both scouts, because they can obviously chase down much faster. So potentially, what could be done here? But Permzilla just standing in the bush, hiding in the corner.
I mean, look, he's in a wonderful spot to do this. He can just like go. Now, there you go. There you go. That is the spirit. But again, he's hoovered in a soldier. He has to use a rocket to jump to him. And in that meantime, he's just backed off. He's got no rocket to damage him. They do take out Smith because he got caught out. But there comes the crits. They're doing a wonderful job of kind of like bouncing about, making AMS miss though, so he only picks up Stark, which is nice. And look at the flank, they've completely just like butchered in, and even Hafikul getting shots on Kaya as well. This is too hot of a situation. They just need to get out here, you know, cut off the losses.
AMS didn't find the rockets he wanted in that, and that's really going to cost them. There was that split second. If he'd hit the first rocket, took out that soldier in his face, or took out the demo man, he could have got like 2 or 3 frags off the back of that. But once he missed a couple, it just gave nameLess the time they needed to get away. And now we see the vaccinator come out. And really for nameLess, it's all about whether they get this information about the vaccinator before they push.
And they should do, like, they know they have this huge advantage. They don't need to rush into anything. They can send their spies forward, their scouts, just to get that information so they know what they're facing off against. And if they do check, they'll realize that Atomic is playing engineer right now, and perhaps they'll spot that vaccinator from Onkaya, and that would definitely change their approach to this last push. They're only kind of getting forward right now. I get the feeling they're going to do a blind push here.
Yeah.
He's trying to peek here on the balcony, sees the scout. If they did like still think that they had the super advantage, they know that it was going to be up soon, but maybe they're just going to hold from 1-0.
I mean, there's 9 minutes 35 left in the overall match. There's 9 minutes left on the round time. If they hold for that long.
He's coming up from the spawn. He wants to get on top of the point. Drak is even looking here and there about it, but there's a sentry gun been moved. It's actually covering the point now, so they've cut off that avenue of just putting people onto the point. They've decided to actually push out instead, and they've already bled AMS. Beaven's might as well be dead at this point. He's caught out in a horrible situation. He's decided to go all the way behind, take a book out of take a page out of Hafikul's book and just be a pest behind for a good part of this this little push here.
Ironically, like if they knew that Vaccinator was the medigun, they might just commit to this push because they're essentially going in like 6 versus 4 with Beaver all the way behind, but they don't seem to be aware of that just yet.
AMS is trying to get aggressive with this Vaccinator play because they can afford to pop 1 or 2 to get in the opening, gets loads of damage on start, can't quite finish the frag though. Kai's only on 60 health, going to have to back it up. But they're going to have that charge back again in no time. Like, there's a free peak for them, essentially, with this Vaccinator. They have that sort of the Sentry as well. They lose Beaven, and they can just use this Vaccinator and the Sentry to buy so much time, and this gives them at least an opportunity to be proactive on their defense. Yeah,
but it isn't the winning move. It may make you a little bit proactive in the fact that you can like peek and whatnot, but it doesn't quite make a whole push by itself. It's really difficult to make great use of it and in the attacking position. That's why a lot of teams you only really see them use it on defense. And you see nameLess now poking about on this point area, seeing if they can maybe sort out play. Drak does actually pick up Beaven, who went hunting for captain in that water area, so maybe they can make a play off that pick as well. They're trying to take out the gun. This is going to be a very... Oh, actually, he's being healed up now. That's a shame. They almost had all the preparations to make a push there. Captain has just gone in onto the point, but didn't notice that the sentry gun, I guess, is still up. They used a bubble as well, just for good measure, and they picked off 2 players now, so it looks like they want to make a push.
Yeah, reverse pick coming out here. They want them to push. You see Spud locking those doors down straight away, but they can just use the Vaccinate to walk through the sickies. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Going to challenge this, but they still have that Uber to contend with. Dre Rocket from AMS to knock that scout off the high ground. But here comes the counter-aggression now. Here comes the Uber. All on what Stark can get done with this. He chooses to ignore the medic as Drax getting that frag and go back and try and fight the scout. Luckily, Happy Cool saves him. Ambitious from Stark there. And we see Atomic looks to be behind him for the back cap. If he goes too soon, he's going to be spotted. Happy Cool gets another clean-up frag.
Oh, it's Tiger against the world, and he's missed all the shots, it seems. So even Perm's going to slice him towards the end there. So 2-0. They're now in a nice comfort zone. 6 minutes left on the clock. It's looking like a best of 3 is going to go to nameLess, boys.
Yeah, nameLess in full control here. They just saw that Crowns had such a strong defensive setup, but were very much aware that it wasn't the ideal combination of unlocks and classes that they would like to be pushing out with. So they just baited them into that situation. Now they find themselves 2-0 up here with 6 minutes 30 seconds left on the clock as we arrive at middle number 3. Starkey's going to find Smeara immediately. No Demo Man available for Crowns here if they want to stay in and contest this mid-fight. They're going to be missing one of their main damage dealers, and they're just being obliterated here on the point. That's a complete wipe coming in against Crowns as nameLess keep all 6 players up here.
Yeah, they took a little too long to do anything, and Drac was the first one to make the first effective jump, and in doing that, it's even followed up with Spud, who was laying out some good damage, and between both of them, they just got the dominoes rolling. I mean, the dominoes piles are falling over, and the midpoint was just easily won for nameLess there.
Yeah, now with another clean Uber advantage, they can take this one into last. The sentry's not particularly high level, but they do trade captain for the sentry gun there, and Spud's now going to have to back out of this one. But AMS gets carried away, will go down, but frags are being traded, and they're just going to back out now. 2-round advantage, 5 minutes left, no need to take any risk as we see Spud trying to lock down those doors again. He's already locked down lower, and Kaiser again taking spam on his shutter door, and he actually takes too much. Stark takes him down. It'll cost Stark his life, but long term they've now got an Uber advantage. And at this point for nameLess, it's every frag, every play they can get, it just buys themselves time and edges them closer to that grand final.
I mean, they have the heal advantage as well. I'm surprised that they're just not going from the choke area. Maybe they were a bit worried about some sort of sticky play, but you can just easily jump a soldier past that and just get in there. But, you know, this is, I guess, no risk TF2 here. Just making sure that they can't make a comeback happen here over on Crowns.
Yeah, why push without that safety net of Uber? You can just wait another 10 seconds to get your charge up. Primzilla almost about to get his on. Kai switched up to crits here, though. Wants to try and force an error, perhaps, from Perm, but Stark's moving forward, and he's called for the Uber charge. Perm flashes in. Stark and Happy Cool, they're looking for frags, but Soda's jumping up top. Amps is going to get baited into taking that fight, and does go down, but Atomic finds Drac. But look at the position here from nameLess. They've got the high ground, and they see the crits coming out. He's yet to find a single frag. We thought that Amps had beefed it, but Smeara not doing much better here either.
Yeah, but they're still just slowing down the game so much right now. They even have to send Beaming down and a drop down to make a play. And they have launched a few people in, but again, holding this point from an arm's reach. And they're going to get an Uber eventually, and they're fine with just giving up the midpoint for now, just to keep a constant defense happening rather than just risking anything.
There is a glimmer of hope here, though, for Crowns, in that they are going to have crits before Primzilla has Uber if they build that max rate, but it's going to be so close right now. They need to be pushing on the dot if they want to try and catch Perm out, but it seems that Perm is going to have Uber as the crits comes in. He pops off immediately. They're going to rush forward here with Stark and Happy Cool, hungry for frags. They kill off Onkaya immediately, but Beaver onto Drac means that it's actually pretty much not looking good here for nameLess. They've lost Spud, they've lost Drac, but they are finding frags. The heals of Primzilla just sustaining them throughout that fight, it seems.
Yeah, it's a shame that Crowns can coordinate their attack a little bit better. They had them kind of pinned from two sides there, and it did look very uncomfortable for nameLess, but Stark just hitting those crisp rockets, no matter if he's looking in front of him or behind him, and it will slowly go towards nameLess just from those heals alone.
Beaven's going to get a shot on Permbo. He takes him down. He makes the shot. One shot, one kill. Moving in now, and that might be the opportunity Crowns need. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left. 2 rounds down. Crowns need something to happen for them now to stay in this tournament, and they're moving forward onto mid right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Onkai isn't running more crits or more vaccinated just to kick the game up a notch in speed. Because sure, if you have this medic gun, it does kind of give a lot more reliability, but you know, you need to start getting rounds onto the board, not to start slowing down the game and adding
Kaya going to go down there to the combined bomb. Drag went in first, but it was Starkly followed up to get that frag onto Kaya. So even though he did have an uber advantage there with the standard medigun, he has gone down, and Primzilla will be back in control. They've lost some territory here, but as CX said, just every engagement they take here keeps that clock ticking down more and more towards their seemingly inevitable victory. 2-0 right now and 2 minutes left. Can they do it, CommanderX?
Beaven has to do it again. It's the only way. Beaven has to somehow find a way to drop Perm again in the next 20 seconds. He's going, and it's a Vaccinator push. They're going to try and use Vaccinator to get on point, I imagine, but Perm has the Uber. As long as Perm doesn't drop, this should be in the bag. As the push starts to come in, they're just going to run for the point. They're trying to deny the point. They get it!
Unbelievable. The heavy just too slow there. He'd spun up for a brief second, couldn't cover the distance, and no one was able to put a toe on the point to deny it. So again, Onkai, the mastermind, digging his team out of a hole in the dying minutes of a game we saw in the last round against Comfortably Spanked with the Vaccinator play, but he switched into the crit streak, and he's done the same thing again here. Wins one engagement with the Vax and then goes straight to the crits.
Yes, I agree very wholeheartedly. Actually, they decided to not go to middle here. Oh, very smart, a very smart play coming out from nameLess here. I mean, like, why risk it? This is, after all, like, money on the line, so why go to a risky middle when you can certainly slow down the game from just the second point here? They're even going to go back to last now to really make sure.
Risk though, but they don't know about this crit advantage.
They're not expecting the crits. They can't be. They wouldn't have backed off so much. They expect the crits. Here it comes. It's on the pyro.
They did expect the crits. They got the pyro out to stop and block all the crits out. They even got some of these players. They finally have the Uber out, and now they're just going to put it on everybody. Feel good Ubers for everyone on nameLess just to make sure they can clean up these last few players. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock. I think they have enough in the tank for like one more push, but I don't think they're going to get a crits with it.
They're waiting for the spawns. They're going to let their players come in. 2 seconds to the spawn. I imagine they're going to maybe start the push as they start to come in lower, and just hope it works. Pyro still out from Happy Cool. They need a miracle right now. 14 seconds left on the clock as they go into this final attempt to stay in the tournament.
They've left it right until the dying seconds of the game. They're trying to just throw players onto the point. 3, 2, 1. Crowns all down right now, and nameLess hold to keep the scoreline 2-1 here on Gully Wash. They're going to go through in straight sets into the grand final, where they will have that grudge match rematch against Perilous Gaming.
Look how proud Cadus is of his boys. He knew he didn't have them in the Mumble, but he had them in their hearts. So good job on Max. Even congratulations Happy Cool as well. Good job on the nameLess boys pushing through, even though despite all the last minute changes they've had against them.
Yeah, really good showing from Crowns at the end there, like taking nothing away from nameLess's win, but really good performance from them. Much compared to if you look at their recent performances in ETF12, this tournament has really been a real redemption story for them and a lot of their players.
Crowns as well probably may have felt on some level that their final here was the previous game that they played. You know, they really wanted to make sure that they beat Comfortably Spanked. We knew that they could beat nameLess, who had seemed shaky, but as you say, nameLess kind of the phoenix from the flames maybe here, coming back to life and showing that they are perhaps the #1 team in Europe. They're going to be tested against Perilous later though, but Onkai doesn't look too dejected right now. I think he put up a solid showing there across both those maps.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a good result for them. You know, going into this, Perilous and nameLess were always the standout favourites in this tournament, and we're going to get the grand final. I guess everyone expected, but not in the way a lot of people expected it to get there.
Definitely not. We've seen some incredible games here so far in this tournament. Definitely the highlight so far was that lower bracket round 1 that went all the way to that 16-minute golden cap. Did I see it on your Twitter feed? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Delicious plug.
What's your Twitter handle, CommanderX?
It was just on screen. Everyone's already a follower anyway.
Nice one.
But yeah, so moving on from this, we're going to see Crowns take third place, nameLess move into the best of 5 grand final, and no coach, but the silver lining, nameLess didn't win pretty, but nameLess won how nameLess normally win.
Controlled.
Yep. Is not quite as good as the standards they set themselves, sort of over the last year or so, but it is how they normally play. And as we move on to the logs right now, Hafikool standing out at the top. And this is what we're used to seeing from Hafikool, and this is what we've not really seen all LAN. This is what we normally get.
Yeah, maybe stemming from the mid-fights. I'd imagine nameLess did have a strong showing on these mid-fights. So showing Hafikool, the janitor, just cleaning up everybody on the opposing side of Crowns.
And if we look also over to Spud stats, 15-2, a lot of it coming from when they were attacking last, and they really just had Crowns pinned in on their last for so long. Spud was doing so much damage and getting so many frags on their pushes out. And as soon as he got those, not like hard kills or difficult kills, but consistently getting these kills, stops Crowns making any progress. And meant that by the time they finally got out and they were even able to steal around right at the end, they just simply ran out of time.
But the biggest difference maker I'm seeing in these logs is Onkaya with 10 deaths and Permzilla with 3. I mean, after all, TF2 is a game about Ubers, about that medic class, and I think that was the huge difference maker here.
I mean, just thinking back to how many moments we saw throughout both maps where Hafikool and Spud had this nice synergy, this link up, combine that then with Permzilla, and you saw that the combo from nameLess was kind of firing on all cylinders. It wasn't all about what Stark could do, it was about what everyone else could deliver and bring to the team here. And note as well, this time Hafikool, very little off classes. He played Pyro briefly on last, but really just sticking to what he knows best, getting healed up, and killing anyone that comes close to his medic. And with Permzilla's low death stats, you can definitely attest to that he was doing a decent job this time. But Spud's stats, unbelievable, that 11.5 kill assisted death ratio, very impressive.
It's kind of weird. I'm guessing I'm just clicking now. Now, Hafikool's almost been trying to fill some of Stark's, what's lost from Stark on the flank in terms of making more plays, off-classing more. And the knock-on effects of that is you don't have the most reliable pocket scout in Europe with your medic.
Very much so.
But it's okay, because they slowed the game down tremendously, so they didn't risk Permzilla too much, and it just shows in the stats as well. So they had a rough idea of how they wanted to play the game, and I think they executed very nicely. Yeah,
a low-scoring controlled game is exactly what nameLess normally do. This wasn't as good as that, like I said before, but this is what they want to do. And if I was Perilous, I'd be a little less confident than at the start of the day.
Yeah, but still, though, a good showing by Crowns in the end. I mean, for a moment there, I believed they could have actually done it with those little changes towards the end, with those Medigun, popping out the vaccinator, using the crits. It was just setting the strategically, it was sound, but in the execution, it just could have been better.
Yeah, nameLess were in complete control of the matchup, and Onkaya knew it, so he had to try and make something happen there. But I mean, there's no stat for how frustrated your opponents were, but I guess you could tell that from the deaths versus kills there on the Crown side. No one really struggling to get up there and lead their team forward in terms of stats, but looking at the medic play as well, just Onkaya being dead so much and the play being quite scrappy on their side meant that Permzilla healed a lot more than him as well. It's a 5k difference. That is a lot of extra bodies on the field. And of course, we see that vaccinator play, that crits play there from Onkaya that almost took them over the finish line or got them to a golden cap, just not quite.
Yeah, it's been tough for Crowns. They put up such a good showing in 3 maps against the top 2 teams in Europe and have lost every single one of them. It's kind of heartbreaking because they've brought them so close, so consistently. They've just not been able to quite close it out, and it's kind of heartbreaking, but at the same time, it is a motivation. It is much better than a lot of people maybe expected going into this.
Yeah, just even over the course of the tournament, they've shown this improvement. We weren't sure how they were going to perform after we saw, comfortably Spank coming out strong in yesterday's first games, but it was actually Crowns who ended up to be the better of the 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely.
It just goes to show you, I guess you learn a lot more from your losses than your victories, and leading up to the tournament, they were doing a lot of losing. But, it turned out a happier ending in the end.
Look at those aggregate stats there. 81 frags, placed 46. Even though it was that low-scoring game, you can definitely tell that nameLess were in control for the majority of the time. Slightly more Ubers there, of course, for Onkaya with the vaccinator shenanigans, etc. But look at the length of some of those rounds. 13 minutes, almost 14 minutes for the first one, then 9 for the second one. It was just such a long, drawn-out game. Like it was suffocating Crowns' hopes of getting back into it, really.
Yeah, and that's what nameLess likes to do so much. They force you to make the play, and not just make the play, but they force you to make it in a situation you're not normally comfortable in. It's exactly what they did. That's why Crowns would try and vaccinate, to try and the crits, and they actually did really well, considering the odds stacks against them. As we move on to the cap points by zone, Admirable.
Oh.
These stats are right over my head. So
well, all I can tell from these stats is Crowns had a really difficult time cracking that second point, as they only really managed to do it twice. And even during those 2 times, they only had a crack at, and a successful crack at that last point once as well.
Yeah. They only actually, even though it says a conversion rate of 50%, but I think they only actually did have 1 push onto last, which they took. And it just shows how much nameLess controlled the map, controlled the area, and if you control it, so much of the map for such a long period of time, but it's impossible.
Yeah,
really.
whilst if you're looking at nameLess, they had double the amount of effort, I guess, effective results as Crowns did in this game.
Yeah, I mean, these stats are even kind of generous to nameLess. Like, they had more attempts than 4 at pushing last, but they just held on to CP2 so consistently they could just keep trying.
I mean, it's like not only did nameLess not give Crowns opportunities to push, but they also didn't give themselves opportunities to fail. There was a lot of times where nameLess could have pushed, and we were thinking, well, you could just go and try and take an Uber trade here and see what happens, but they just didn't. They just didn't want to give themselves that chance to fail.
Thinking about it, this is probably one of the safest games of TF2 I've watched.
Resident sleeper in Twitch.
I think the problem is when a game's so slow, it makes all the individual decisions so much more important just because there's less of them.
I mean,
and that decision for them to push at the very, very start, as we were coming down to the final, like 30 seconds on the timer before the reset to mid.
I'd almost forgotten about that. Oh my god.
And the worst part is that literally was their best opportunity, like to reset the mid, and they were kind of even on mid fights. But as soon as they lost that, they got pushed all the way back to last, and then they just were stuck there. And it all boils down to that one decision. And so early on in the map as well, and there's no way to know that was going to be the turning point. But it all comes down to that, and you give nameLess an inch, and they will take a mile.
I mean, I know a lot of people kind of give these sort of matches stick for not being action-packed, but I think tactically it's very rewarding if you just think past like the air shots and just think more on the mind games.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at this now, kills and deaths during Uber, and you just look
there
at
we go.
the
back
control.
To that control, those good post-Uber, like those are the stats I was expecting from nameLess in the last game, and now they're back to normal, it seems.
It's the deaths during Uber for nameLess, which is insane right now. 3 deaths during Uber across a 30-minute map. I know it's slow-paced, but still, to drop 3 people, that's 1 every 10 minutes you lose during your Uber exchanges or your Uber pushes. 1 single person while you pop that Uber, and it's what you said earlier. It's the low risk. They don't give not just low risk, but no opportunity for the other team. They just stamp it out. They grind other teams down. They take it, and that's what's made them the most successful team in Europe. Going into this LAN, and like I said before, I'd be a little bit more worried if I was Perilous now. Yeah,
and especially Perilous are not good at when the game goes slow. They even kind of do it to themselves as well. They kind of, I think they thrive when the game goes just a little bit quicker. But once it's, they kind of psych themselves out and think, oh, we're playing nameLess, we need to slow things down a bit. I mean, in the previous game, though, they did avoid this a little bit. So it's good to see they identify the problem. But who knows, in the grand final, that pressure is doubled. It's for all the marbles. And maybe they'll just end up seeping back into that playstyle.
Maybe without Silentes here, the guy that seemed to be most triggered by that slow play, it won't be an issue for Perilous. But take a look at these head-to-heads. Hafiko, his dominant overall stats again shown in here, and how much he was in control of the fight versus Amps 9 versus 2.
All I see is pretty much like no fun allowed from from nameLess.
If you look at the players he's killing as well, like Hafiko's not just like farming roamers. He's like AMS, Smear. Like he's crushing these combo players. Like it's the same with Spud. Like Spud is top frags now on AMS. Like the combo's just being outplayed. Hafiko and Spud's synergy and teamwork and the way they controlled that game stopped AMS and Smear coming forward at any point, and Crowns couldn't get anything going.
Maybe they could have turned to. I guess the only thing I could really think about is if they went for a more of a flank-heavy sort of play, like rushed play onto them. I mean, it shows in previous parts of the tournament that Drac has been like left out pissing in the wind sometimes in some of these defenses. So if they can maybe punish that flank a bit more, but it goes to show in this game he was not too heavily pressured and it was just went fine.
Drac was better because he'd been making a few sort of mistakes throughout the
He
tournament.
played,
Not major, but
I think he played a bit more reserved than usual, which is,
yeah.
I think it's working out perfectly fine. It worked out, and there was definitely key moments in process where it worked out, and it just, no mistakes really out from what I can remember in this Gully Wash game. So keep doing what you're doing, Drac.
Interesting to note there that the one kind of head-to-head there that was going in favour of Crowns was Amps versus Stark. It was 4-1. Does that mean that Stark was kind of sacrificing himself for the benefit of the rest of his combo, or was he just like jumping, trying to get away from Amps and fight other people?
I think he would just take the majority of Ubers in, so he would get Ubered, and then he would think, this is a favourable Uber, I'm going to jump in and then kind of cause some chaos, be like, lay out as much damage as I can, die for the cause, and then all my players are just going to flood in and take over from the already advantage from before.
Looks like we're going to be going to a half-hour break here, guys, before the grand finals. So stay with us here on Team Fortress TV. We just saw nameLess progress over Crowns here at a straight 2-0 series. Really a kind of strategically dominant one. And I'm sure they'll be looking to continue to dictate the pace into the grand finals. We'll see you in 30 minutes, guys.